Alright, now I noticed while I was scraplifting these two that I was absolutely loving it. I love this sort of like grid design with the big white mat on top of, you know, the background paper and stuff. So now I've kind of decided, since I scraplifted these and I changed a couple things, I'm going to now sort of challenge myself to sort of take this idea and kind of see if I can do something on my own and kind of see maybe what I can come up with. So I decided that I kind of wanted to do our Christmas card, and this is from 2013. I'm not sure where 2014 is right now, so I grabbed this one. It was on the kind of near the top of my photo, so I just went ahead with this one. And then while I was looking through my closet for this, I found this paper that I ordered from excuse me, I ordered from Scrapbook Generation a while ago. And these four, I don't know if my camera's going to pick it up, are this really, really pretty textured wood grain paper. And I had seen a couple girls on YouTube use this a long, long time ago. And then this, this is just some regular textured American Crafts, I think. I don't even remember why I ordered it. I almost want to say I borrowed some paper from some of my kits and I was restocking, but I saw this and I was like, oh, you know, maybe I'll use these for, like, you know, maybe for my background sheet and my white square and everything, because the colors were really matching. And then I went ahead and pulled the black because I knew that Simple Stories, with their little die cut pieces and stuff, they had a Christmas line, but I don't remember if I bought it. So basically I just pulled out this box that I kind of keep any sort of 3x4, 4x6 type of products. I just kind of keep everything in here. So I'm gonna go through all this and see what I can find and see if I can find something that'll work with that photo. And then I also grabbed my basket of stamps because I really am kind of in this mood that I really want to incorporate stamps on a layout. So I'm going to sort of challenge myself to use what I have and sort of this grid layout that I really liked doing from Nicole McGork, and kind of see if I can do it myself with just what I have laying around and not following a layout and just kind of copying it. So I'm going to kind of take you on the journey as far as pulling supplies and sort of figuring it out and if it's going to work. So I'm going to put you on fast forward.
Alright, now since I'm not doing such a close scrap lift, I don't really have any sort of starting point as far as which products I'm using. So I'm just going through this box of stuff that I have, lots of snap collections from Simple Stories, different 3x4, 4x6 cards, that type of stuff. I'm just going through this box and pulling out anything that sort of catches my eye during the first flip through. And even though our photos were mostly blue and there's just a little bit of craft on the card, I'm still going to go ahead and go with these Christmas colors from this snap collection, and I'm not sure what the name of it is. I don't have the pack with me right now. So I'm just doing a quick flip through the cards to kind of determine which ones I think I might use. So I'm just kind of making some piles of for sure not going to use, this is kind of interesting, or maybe I might use this. So I'm just kind of sorting through anything that catches my eye. And I was checking this family pack, just anything that I had pulled out, I'm just kind of trying to look through it while also thinking of sort of a layout in my mind or anything that I want to sort of for sure make it to the layout, I guess. I went ahead and pulled some 12x12 pattern papers from my Simple Stories stash. I needed something to kind of have a spot to put my title, a little bit of journaling information as far as, you know, just the fact that this was our family card for this year. So I'm just pulling anything quickly that I think I might use, and I don't use any of this Handmade Holiday. It was just a little bit different tone to the papers compared to those snap cards, but at this point I just kind of made a maybe pile over on the side of my desk. And here I've grabbed a sheet of that white cardstock to sort of start putting my grid or blocks together on top of, and then I've got that sort of beige craft colored cardstock to use as my base. And so now I'm just kind of going through, and I decided I was going to go with this sort of aqua, red, green, and gray, I believe. So I'm kind of just ignoring the fact that we're all wearing blue sitting in a green field. It doesn't bother me to not have my photos sort of coordinate or match my papers and stuff like that. But at the same time, like I don't think that I would use something that's completely non-matching either. Again, since I'm not doing a complete scrap lift, at this point I'm lost. I am sort of just moving things around. If I can't figure out something that I for sure want to do, I sort of just start, digging through or playing with other supplies. And a lot of times something will just sort of spark an idea, like that honeybee stamp set. I saw wonderful and beautiful phrase, and I decided I was going to go ahead and use that for my title. So I'm just baby stepping it sort of through the decision making process as far as what I want to do and what I'm going to use. And then I went ahead and took a bunch of these stickers out of the packages so that those were ready to go. And now I am taking this pierced squares stacks from MFT, and I've used this many times in other videos. Probably one of my favorite die cut sets. I don't know, I like the pierced edging. I don't have any of the ones with the stitched edging, so I don't really have anything to compare it to, and I'm afraid if I had them, I would have a hard time deciding between the two. So I'm just cutting these 3x4 cards down with this square that I believe is like just shy of 3 inches squared. So now I'm going to try and lay things out and see if I like where this is going. And I decided I wanted to die cut this other 3x4 card with another MFT die, and it's just this little 3x4 sized notebook page. And again, I've used this many times. It's another one of my favorite dies, and it just kind of makes this cute little notebook edge at the top, and then it does round the corners as well. So I decided to tuck that behind my photo. And now I'm having a look at some of these other 3x4 cards that have some images and some more interest to them. And I'm going to take a smaller square from that stack set and go ahead and cut that out so that I have sort of a layered embellishment for one of my squares. And then for now I'm going to go ahead and set those aside. Apparently I'm going to set them very far aside. Oh, I went to grab these little label dies, which I believe are also from MFT Stamps. And I'm going to take that little banner shaped one and go ahead and cut that out from a scrap of the ledger paper that I had used at the top of my layout. And it's basically just going to give me a place to do a little bit of stamping. And you can see I lined up my die so that I was getting, there was a little row of numbers on that pattern. I really liked that, so I just made sure that my die sort of covered that area. I had recently ordered from MFT Stamps, and this set was the free dynamics that you got for spending a certain amount. And I decided to take the border die that was a pierced detail, and I thought it would be fun to make the top portion of my paper have a pierced edging as well. And with this die it was super easy. So now the top ledger area of my paper is going to coordinate perfectly with those little squares at the bottom of my layout. And even the side of my paper that is longer than this die is still going to work out with the piercing. I'm just going to flip the die around and put it on the other side, and then I'm just going to make sure one or two of those little pierced areas sort of overlaps. So it took a little time running this through, about 4 times, but I really like the added detail in how it kind of looks like everything has that same pierced edging. And now I'm going to go ahead and stamp on the little banner that I had die cut. And I originally thought that I was going to try this blue ink that I had just purchased, but it was just the wrong sort of shade of blue. It sort of would have been the only thing besides our clothes that was that color, so I'm going to go ahead and just grab a red ink pad from Mama Elephant. I think this was a different red ink that I was trying. I tried a couple different colors, so I basically just kind of went down the line of, different colors that I thought would work out, and then I ended up settling on this red from Mama Elephant. And I believe that phrase was from a different Honeybee Stamps set. And then here I'm just using that ledger paper to mark how wide I need to have my white matte piece. And I'm going to go ahead and lay everything back out. Make sure that I still like the layout of everything before I start adhering anything to the page. And in the back of my mind, I'm also trying to be aware of that space on the right that I need to sort of decide what I'm going to do there. With it being sort of a weird size, I didn't have like a pre-cut card or anything like that that I thought would work, so I'm just kind of leaving it as is for now until I make a decision as far as what I want to do. Here I'm laying out those stamps so that it will end up saying what a wonderful and beautiful life? Now I can't remember. Oh, moment. I was going to say, I hope I finish that title or I'm going to kick myself that it's like on video that I didn't finish something on the layout. This word moment is from, pretty sure that's a Carrie Bradford cut file. And I'm using 2 of those Simple Stories 3x4 snap cards. I just basically went through and found 2 tone-on-tone colors that I wanted to use, and I picked a gray and a green, mostly because the only embossing powder choices I had were limited me to where I was going to end up having to use red, so I didn't want to use any red patterns to cut out the word moment, so I just kind of picked 2 different colors. So I'm just laying everything out again to make sure it's going to fit before I commit to stamping out this title. And I just kind of made myself a little tick mark with a pencil for where my photo and those layers were going to end. And then because I'm going to be embossing, I went ahead and used a powder tool to sort of save myself some mess. And then I'm going to have to go dig through my embossing folders because I forgot to pull them out before I started, so I had a freak out moment hoping that my ink wasn't going to dry while I was trying to make a decision. And then I'm going to stamp both phrases and then just go hit both of them at the same time with my heat gun. And I'm just going to leave myself enough space for the little and symbol. And I probably could have stamped those phrases with just some, just the same red ink that I had used below, but I'm really trying to be aware, I guess, of some of the stuff that I have purchased and have not used, or even techniques that I don't do very often, and one of those is embossing and sort of using embossing powders that I've purchased. And I don't know, I kind of like the added texture that it gives, and it just kind of makes it shiny. And there I went ahead and just used some black VersaFine to stamp the extra phrases for the title. Used some spray adhesive on my die cut title. And going ahead and layering those two together. And sorry, I've got my giant head in the way. And then now that I have that done, I can go ahead and put down most of my papers and my photo card and sort of all these things that I am for sure on using. Oh, first I'm going to grab, I had taken another one of those and there I was just running that other 3x4 card that I wanted to tuck behind my photos. I ran that through my Big Shot with a Tim Holtz on the edge die that just cuts little file tabs. That's just no big edges, and file tabs are sort of my go-to shapes if I am layering something behind a photo. So those two dies I like to use a lot. So I ended up switching around two of the squares down here at the bottom, mostly because I didn't want the gray pattern square to be on the same side of the layout as the gray die cut word moment. I don't know that there's any sort of design principle rule against that. It was just sort of bothering me. I'm not sure why. Those little stacked phrases I just fussy cut from one of the other 3x4 cards. I am adding some foam tape behind that stamped border that I did earlier, and then I'm just going ahead and attaching this little die cut square. And then now is sort of where I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to fill the gap that I now have left myself. And I end up deciding on just using some red pattern paper from Simple Stories, and I'm going to trim it to fit that space. And then I'm going to take that pierced edge die that I used on the ledger paper at the top, and I'm going to go ahead and run that through my Big Shot so that all the edges of the red pattern paper have that pierced detail as well. So that little border set I think I'm going to end up using quite a bit. So I was kind of happy that the month that I did decide to order some stuff from MFT, they had that set as sort of the free with, a certain purchase. Most of the months, the free die is one that I could care less about. But when I saw this one, and I saw that I was pretty close to having that total in my cart, I was like, okay, I'm going to go find a couple things, because that die, I feel like, is really good for scrapbooking, not just for card making. So there, I'm just trying to tuck that in and sort of make sure that it's going to line up and meet the other areas that I have. And I'm just going to go through and have another look at those sticker sheets and see what I can find. Grabbed a little red label, a green label, and a little washi stickers. I really tried to get that black polka dot one to work, but I think I ended up pulling it off. I took a little tiny heart sticker and added it to that stamped banner area. Then unfortunately, the last file was corrupted, so I tried a couple different ways and it just wasn't working. But basically it was just attaching this part onto my background paper, adding some enamel dots, and adding a strip of red paper over on the left side, adding a couple staples, and a little circular sticker. All of that you will be able to see in the photo of the entire layout together. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and leave me a thumbs up if you'd like to see more in a Scraplift series. Thanks for watching.